What's going on, YouTube? Thanks for joining me today. Today I'm going to be starting a new woodworking project, so I figured I would bring y'all along. Now this new project is going to be to build more beehive pallets, similar to this one sitting here. Now a pallet's a dual purpose tool. It serves as the bottom board for the hives to sit on, and it's obviously a pallet, so it makes them a whole lot easier to move around and transport. And that's the main reason I'm building some. Now this one sitting here is a two-way pallet for my full-sized production hives, but the ones I'm going to be building are for 6-frame nukes. Now these are nuke boxes I've been running in the past, but I don't want to be lifting and loading and moving these things one at a time anymore. I want to make pallets for them like this where there'll be 3 of them sitting on here. One side of the pallet there's going to be 2 entrances just like this, and then the other side of the pallet over here is going to have 1 entrance in the middle. That'll hopefully help my queens orient to their correct hive placement when they come back from mating. So that's the gist of the project. We got a whole pile of lumber over here to get cut up, so let's get to work. So before we get started actually cutting anything, I wanted to show you guys how if you spend just a little bit of time and use just a little bit of brain power, you can save yourself a little bit of money in the long run. So I made a visual of how I'm going to cut my sheets of plywood for the deck pieces on the pallets. They're going to be 21 5/8 this way, 33 1/4 that way. So if I just throw my sheets up here and cut them what I would say the easy way, just ripping 33 1/4 all the way down, I'm gonna get 4 deck pieces that are 1 piece, and then I can use this, the leftover, the drop, I can cut them into strips, and I can make 1 more pallet's worth out of the drop. So that means I'll get 5 pallets worth of decks out of 1 sheet. Now if I put a little more labor into it and cut them like this, I'll get 5 deck pieces that are 1 piece, and then I can cut me some strips out of the little bit of drop I have and get 2/3 of another deck made. So that means I get 5 2/3 pallets worth out of a sheet. And in the long run, if I'm going to make 50 of these things, instead of cutting them this way and using 10 sheets of plywood, I can cut them this way and only use 9 sheets. And with lumber prices these days, saving a sheet of plywood, heck yeah, sign me up for that. The extra labor that I mentioned earlier, what it's going to be. So if I can't just throw this sheet up here and make a rip cut for these pieces, or I'll ruin this piece. This one's facing the other way, so I'm gonna have to throw them up there and cut this end of the whole sheet off. And since I have my saw set for that, I'm gonna have to do all 9 sheets first, set the pieces to the side, and then grab them again and start ripping. So that's the extra labor involved, but to me it's worth it. So now let's get started. really wish it went that fast in real life, but at least it looks that way. So I got all the decks for the pallets cut. And this here is what I was talking about, using the drop to make strips. See, I can stack them up there, make a pallet out of it. So now I think I'm kind of feeling like I want to go ahead and get all the plywood cut up, so I'm going to start cutting the pieces for the lids. So just to knock all the plywood cutting out of the way, I think I'm going to go ahead and do that so I can move on to another material. Alright guys and gals, status update. I got half of my lids cut out, the main pieces of my lids. Still got that stack over there to cut up, along with the cleats and everything for the lids. But that's going to be tomorrow, because it is dark out. Got a full moon tonight. And Angus is telling me it's dinner time, so. Is it dinner time? Yep. So we will see y'all tomorrow. Alright folks, we're back for round 2 today. I just figured I'd give y'all an outline of my plans for the day. So we ended off yesterday. I had about half of my lids cut out. We're gonna I'm going to knock the rest of them out real quick, and then I'm going to jump on cutting these 2x4 runners for the pallets. After that, I'll jump on cutting the runners on the bottom. Then depending on how that goes, depending on time, then I may start on all these little pieces on top of the pallet. So it's gonna take a little bit of time. So gonna be some more time lapsing. So let's get it rolling. Alrighty, that wraps up all the runners for the bottom of the pallet, and I got all the 2x4 runners cut. Forgot to hit the dang record button, so thank goodness nothing interesting happened or I would have been mad. So now we're gonna move on to cutting these little 3/4 inch strips that go around the pallet. But okay, so for the bottom of my pallets, I have all the pieces rough cut. So now that's a side view of the lids I'm gonna make. So I can, in order to get done with the miter saw, I'm gonna go ahead and cut these end pieces, whatever you wanna call those, and then these cleats that go on top. I'm gonna knock them out so I can be done with the miter saw and set it to the side. Let's knock them out. Alrighty folks, just to bring y'all back up to speed, I was on the miter saw chopping my material up, and I've been continuing to do that, just chopping away, but I didn't want to bore y'all anymore with that. I was getting pretty bored myself, but I finally got all my material broken down into the individual pieces. So here, how you can see, that's all going to be pieces for the lids, those are the cleats that'll go on top. Those are the pieces that are going to be on the ends. Here's all the stuff for the pallets, and here and over there. So I only have a little bit more table saw work to go. What I have left, these pieces, these two pieces here in the center, they're cut, but I've got to do a little bit of work with the dado to get a place cut out for where the clip's going to go on the end so they sit flush. And then for the lid pieces, I've got to do this little rabbet joint right here. Now that's not at all necessary for the lid. Sometimes I get a little carried away with the joints I want to make. It would be a lot faster to not do them, but you know. So I got this dado stack set from Lowe's, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago, and really come in handy. I really like using it. Really expands the array of joints you can make and how you can put stuff together. So I'm going to be making a 3/4 inch stack. These here, there's 2 of them go on the outside. They'll be 1/8 of an inch. We're going to have 3 of these chipper blades. In between the chipper blades, we're going to have 2 of these spacers. Make sure that's roughly 3/4. Yep. Okay, so dado is installed. Now what I'm going to be doing, these are the pieces in the middle of the pallet that are going to be there where the U-clips are going to be screwed down to. So what I'm going to be doing, now this is another thing that's not completely necessary. A lot of guys don't do this, I don't think. But instead of just screwing the clip down on top of that piece, you know, then your boxes are going to have that gap all the way across the board. So what I'm going to do, and some other people do, is I'm going to use the dado to skim off just enough material, like a 1/16 of an inch, to where this clip will sit down flush and the box will sit down flush all the way around. So I've got my scrap piece here I'm going to use to make sure I've got the height on my blade set correctly. That's just about perfect right there. So if y'all can see, that's the clip sitting flush with the top of the wood. So it's smooth transition right here. Instead of sitting up on top right there. So, not much to it. Now to go into production mode and knock them out. Okay, so I got all these pieces milled down for the clips. Turned out pretty good, I think. My next step is going to be pre-drilling the holes for these clips. I'm just using one clip for a jig, so I don't gotta make anything special. Here's what it's gonna look like. And I'm doing that so when I screw these down, this piece won't split, because if I don't, I'm pretty sure it's going to split every single time. I'm using a 7/64 drill bit for these number 8 screws. If I don't pre-drill the holes, it's going to split it every single time, as you can see here. And here's one. Tried to get away with as small as drill bit as possible. This one I pre-drilled it with a 3/32, and it still split. So I moved up to 7/64, and so far it's turned out pretty good. I went ahead and put the screws in these holes and they didn't split, so I think I'm good to go. We should do that all day. We need it. Okay, moving on to the next piece, we're going to be cutting these dados for the lid end pieces. The lid's going to sit in there just like so. Make it a little bit stronger. step behind me getting all this stuff cut up, but it's getting pretty monotonous and boring there for a while. Hopefully I didn't bore y'all to tears watching this video. But standing back looking at this pile of pieces, can't relax because there's still tons of work to be done. Have to assemble all these pallets and lids, and I haven't even started the boxes. I have to build those, and then everything has to get wax dipped. So still plenty of work to be done. So, thanks to everybody who stuck around till the end. And if y'all care to see how all these pieces go together, y'all can watch this video up there in the corner. And hope to see y'all there. Y'all have a good one.